So this video is kind of like a before you buy the DJI Mini 4 Pro. I'll give you some insights into some of the things that you probably don't know about this drone, some of the specs, some of the standout features from my tests over the last couple of weeks, some of the things that you might need to know before you purchase it, whether that's like the compatibility with the previous batteries on the Mini 3 Pro. I'll also have a bunch of comparisons and a bunch of other reviews and tests and whatnot on the channel on the Mini 4 Pro. I will have a standalone comparison between the Mini 3 Pro and the Mini 4 Pro very soon as well. So what's really interesting about this release is it's just over a year since we saw the Mini 3 Pro and the Mini 3, which came out after the Mini 3 Pro. And this does feel like a upgraded version of the Mini 3 Pro, which is kind of expected, right? It does feel like the next iteration, a quality of life improvement here. We've got some very exciting features, but also at the same time, it is the same camera system. So it's a f1.7 for the f-stop, for the shutter speed, and then it's also a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor. So the same camera system, the same sensor that we saw on the Mini 3 Pro and the Mini 3. I'll get into all the improvements and the specs and all those really nice juicy details that you want to know, but just in terms of that quality of life improvement comment that I made a little earlier, this to me is really nice. So we see the new gimbal cover, which actually reminds me a lot of the Air 3 cover. So it does actually cover up the two obstacle avoidance sensors on the front as well as the gimbal. So that's really nice because these sensors are little cameras and you do not want them to be scratched or smudged or anything like that. So the fact that they're being protected is really nice. And then the other thing is you're getting this prop guard here. So this actually keeps all your props nice and tucked away. You don't have to worry about it bending out, and then as you put it in the bag, you bend the propellers up. It's a really tight fit. I love it. It's got Mini 4 Pro on the base, and then it says DJI on the front. And this has got a really nice flexible kind of rubber feel to it. It just clips in on one side, and then once you release it, you reveal the beautiful new Mini 4 Pro. Now, from my understanding of what I can gather here, it is pretty much the same body. It's the same chassis that we saw on the Mini 3 and the Mini 3 Pro. The major standouts though are these new fisheye-like obstacle avoidance sensors. So we've got two on the front that point out, but they also have a wide field of view, so they look to the left and the right. And then we've got these rear-facing obstacle avoidance sensors that again are more fisheye-like, so they can see to the sides as well as behind. And then underneath facing down is the same obstacle avoidance sensors that we saw on the Mini 3 Pro. With all of those sensors combined, which we've got the 6 obstacle avoidance sensors, that actually gives us omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, meaning that the drone, the Mini 4 Pro, is the first mini drone from DJI to be able to avoid obstacles in all directions. So that's the first major thing that you'll notice when you look at the aesthetic of the actual unit itself. The other thing is that we do get these lovely little landing legs that I love to see on the Mini 3. The Mini 3 Pro did not have them. So with the Mini 4 Pro, we're getting the landing legs here, which feel nice and stable. We're getting the omnidirectional obstacle avoidance sensors, and we're also getting an auxiliary light on the base of the unit as well. So it is a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor capable of capturing 48 megapixel stills. The lens itself is a 24mm equivalent, and the aperture is fixed at f1.7. Now, some of the major improvements we're getting here is that now we've got 4K up to 60 frames per second with HDR video. So on the Mini 3 Pro, it could only go up to 30 frames per second HDR. So we're getting a nice bump up to 60 frames per second, 4K,